just to give you an update, I've just currently broke down on the A2. Crawling through the back of blue water, mate. I've broke down, so at this moment in time, I don't really know.
Well, the caddy's made it home. It's not a caddy. No, leave it. This is good. Thanks, mate. Chuffed as fuck. First task. Get those tyres pumped up so we can move the thing around more easily. $165.70 13s. Go quite hard. 2.5. The whole car's lifted. Tires dated, this one, 11th month of 2015. So what's that, 11 years old. Today's next job is to see if I can get this to start and take it up to the house where there's a nice solid section of paving. Get the pressure cleaner up there and just run some cleaning over the top of it. I found some stuff that I don't like, some significant rust that scared the shit out of me. But once again, it's like everything else in life. You either deal with it or you run away from it. I just don't run away very well. So it'll get fixed, and it'll get fixed properly, and it'll get fixed well. And obviously this will go for an MOT, and hopefully it'll pass the MOT. But we'll see once we get to that point. For now, the first thing is just to clean it. I also want to take some of the ramps up there and reverse it up onto the ramps and lift the front end and see underneath just how good or bad it looks. Because this thing's been stood for so long, and obviously it came off the road because of all the rust. So it could be catastrophic, which is kind of unpleasant, but that's life, eh? So yeah, first things first, get a battery. Right, let's try and jump the leaves. way now, so that I can get the quad out and all the other things that need moving around can be moved around freely. That's really useful. The next job is take up a couple of ramps as well, so we can put the front end up on the ramps and then the back. Right, it's up there. Take a look just now. Right, yo. I've unpacked everything that was in the back. Some of these panels, I don't know where they go. We have 3 mud guard or mud flaps. These are probably corner flaps that go somewhere. Stuff like that that's completely rusted to hell and gone. That probably was part of that little valance. Not sure where that goes. It's got 4 Skoda center caps for the alloys, which are Skoda alloys. Plus, thankfully, the alloys actually still have their Allen head tighteners, fasteners. Little steel grill is bent. That's part of the rear bumper wrapped around. There's 2 of them, one over there and one this side. As I said, this valance, I'm assuming that goes around the radiator somewhere. That's probably just an air dam force. Front bumper looks like it had fog lights in at some point. And then we have headlights here, indicators there. I'm not sure where they go. We'll figure that out in time. That's the grill badge, which is completely knackered. It's broken. That's very much broken completely. And the badge obviously is knackered, but that doesn't stop me from trying to disassemble it and rebuild it somehow. You can see the arrow and that, I don't know what he is, guy. And then something really interesting. This is a car part, a part from somewhere. There's no idea what kind of a mounting or support it is. You'll see the aluminium casting is cracked to hell, it's broken. So I'm assuming that either has to, or could be replaced. We've got these lenses and lens covers. There's some indicators. That's the little side repeater for the fender. And lots of little plastic plugs and shit. Where they all go, I have no idea. As I say, this is the guy that I'm fascinated by, where this goes. It could even be because this guy was, I think, primarily a big commercial vehicle body shop. So where that comes from, I don't know. This is a little piece I'm really pleased to have found. And I'm just going to see if it fits. I believe it's the air duct for the air cleaner, but looking at that certainly doesn't, it looks like it fits, but it doesn't. If you've got a square head on one end and round on the other side, the clip is still there. So I'm assuming it runs down here somewhere to pick up fresh air. We can figure that out. I so would love to pressure clean the whole of the engine bay as well and get the dust out. Because I know nothing about these engines, which bits can and which bits can't gotten wet. I'll probably end up just doing the side edges and stuff. As I said before, this has all been welded up where those welds were. that needs a little bit of a repair, just a tickle with the welder. This front valance, obviously, that's where that plastic shroud goes around, but I will cut that apart, because I mean that isn't that difficult. Just get some decent steel. I might even make the whole plate and put the holes in for that, and then just take it apart and weld it together again. That should be a good thing. The hoot doesn't work, but it might not be connected. Other than that, the other interesting thing that I found that I'm quite pleased about is a packet of Watsits. Watsits have probably got various names. You can see how dirty this is inside. Watsits have various names in different countries. So these are baked, really cheesy. And then when you turn it around, you find that the expiry date on here, which I saw best before, 20th of May 2017. So 9 years ago, somebody stashed this behind the seat over there. Where there's a little space where you can put stuff, a little cubby. So that was stashed in there. But I'll keep that as a little memento, keepsake, whatever. It's not going to sit there. Other than that, like I said, dirty little car. The radio turns itself on every time you connect the battery or any power to it. So I need to figure out why that does it. You don't want the radio running itself. Yeah. This fender, as I said yesterday, that'll need a bit of cleaning up and tidying. Or if I can find a replacement outright, I'll replace it. These side rubbing strips have seen better days. I think I'll be taking them all off, removing all of the adhesive, etc. I think that's a foot mat that's had a good life. And then, having looked at this, it looks really nice. Then Mickey came around this morning, and I sort of went on my knees to look in underneath these little benches. I'm assuming this was a painter's van because it looks like paint had run out. Anyway, went down on my knees. That's a bit broken there, that doesn't matter. And found a massive surprise. That's the rear shock towers. They've been repaired twice. So it's had plates welded over the original steel, and I believe plates over the steel again. So that goes all the way down to the ground. It's certainly not impossible to repair. I've repaired as bad as that before, possibly even worse. But you look at just the way people repair and you just think, you are bastards, because you are fixing these things literally so they get through one MOT, not really caring about anything else. But you can see all of this is in position, so this is in place, which I'm happy about. But I'll have to make some shaped bits of plate, cut all of that open, clean it away, clean it up and weld in new plates, strip off everything I can. These little tables I'll take out in the next day or 2 or 3. The canopy will have to come off for me to weld and work underneath there. I could probably just take the tables out and work, but we'll see, because the thing is, when you're working inside of a reasonably enclosed space, you end up with a throbbing headache. So unless I put a fan in there, which I could do to blow out any of the air, that's my surprise. And there's the rest of it. So you can see there's a lot of filler. This has been bodged before, thick filler as well at that. So quality that we pay for often isn't really the quality we think we're paying for. Missing those 2 side plates, one on each side, which I'm kind of gutted about because I like the originality, keeping all these things. So I'll have to make a couple of plates, which is not impossible. You could probably put a baking tray in there if you find one the right size and screw it in. But I won't be doing that. And also, once I've taken these out, because they're all screwed on the floor, I'll remove this tray, which is brilliant for protecting the underfloor, but obviously a water trap if it's open. Yeah, I think I have my work cut out for me. Well, I'm going to have to cut out the work and then get it in here. but an unpleasant surprise. But I'm not sure that the seller actually knew about that. He might have known about it 10 years ago when he bought the vehicle, but ultimately none of this really matters. It's my van now, I'll fix it, and I'll do it good, do it justice. I haven't crawled in underneath it. I think the next job now is actually to get the pressure cleaner on, just get that dust out there, and then start on the inside here, just pressure cleaning as much as I can of it. I'll be banging away as much of that rust that I can as well. Then leave it to dry like this, just leave it open overnight. Outside the same, and all of these plastic panels, clean them up properly. I have to leave them somewhere so they can dry. I just like working with clean stuff, it's just so much more pleasant than getting grubby as hell every time you touch anything. The inside, or the outsides I should say, I've gone through all of this again. I went right around, and all the the plate rust, all of the sort of the body panel rust and that's been repaired. Not great, but it's good enough. I think the way that most people work, they just smear a load of filler over the top of that, whereas for me, the finish would have been a complete weld that you wouldn't see any warps on. Metal finished to metal on metal everywhere, and then probably a 0.5 millimeter of skim filler, or even just spray with primer to get back to the original surface. But that's what you do when you may be doing it for yourself. When you're doing it for a commercial job, it's a matter of getting it out, making money, moving it on. This canopy, by the way, when you look at others of these vehicles, that section is not on others, unless this is because it's a 1999 model, because when you look at the way it's joined, it's rubbered in everywhere. It's literally part of the windscreen rubber folds over the top of it, so this was intentional for sure. And then when you come around this side, if I wanted to remove this, I would have to undrill all of those rivets, and then I would be able to take the frame out, which is on here. That's obviously a carrying frame so that you can put weight on top of this whole thing. And you'd end up with that section coming out and just leaving the wood plank in there where it is at the minute. But yeah, much fun. Next stop, pressure clean. Right, we've taken out these shelves. Mr. Energy Drink over there.
Oh yeah.
He's been in the power station all day, crawling around like a madman. So that's what we now have. It looks a lot worse, doesn't it? I think it is as bad as it looks. You can see the floor down there. I had that with the C10, the Chevy Blazer. This one's worse. It's all the way down there. But you guys know me. We fix stuff. So we'll restructure this and rebuild it. It's a bit like somebody having major surgery, facial surgery, etc. You just got to keep going, start one end and work toward an objective. The objective in here is just to get those two pieces rebuilt properly, keeping all the geometry right. So now, next stop, pressure clean the inside of this van, just so it's clean. I might even, before we do that, I might actually take this little thing out if I can get it removed, so that the actual floor can get cleaned as well. Boom, boom.